Mark, do you have a chick, do you have a
Hi, Mark.
older?
Hi there.
You got the Space Needle sticking out of your head.
Yeah, well, that's my halo, if I put it right.
Oh, okay.
But I'm
not
up in
gonna
Washington.
touch that one.
I'm up in Washington right now.
Oh, nice.
Hmm.
And you joined us? What a good guy.
Nothing better to do.
Really? Is the weather nice up there?
Yes,
All right.
very sunny out. It's supposed to get hot.
I know it's supposed to be nice down here too. Hi, Fred.
Oh, hi.
Morning, Carly.
Good morning.
Savannah.
Hi.
Okay, I got to manage the waiting room here, and if I start chatting, I'll get distracted. Wouldn't be the first time. Okay. Let's see. Oh, Curtis is here, or his picture is.
I'm here.
What, are you having a bad hair day? You're not going to show us what you really
Well,
look
you
like?
know, my computer at work, there's a giant window in the back and I get washed out. So,
Oh, okay. That's a good excuse.
yeah.
Let's see, Steve.
And it's especially challenging because the sun finally came out.
Well, let's not be whining about that.
No, the whole week looks fantastic.
I know. Let's see, what do I have? A phone call coming in? I wonder if it's somebody that can't get in. Okay. You guys are the early birds, and so I'll usually give it a 3 minutes until after the hour for the quasi late birds, and then we'll get started. You guys all get bonus points. You get A pluses, like that matters. Good morning, Jill.
Morning.
Guys ready for a new Rotary year?
Yes.
What do you do at the end of the year to celebrate and transfer over to a new president? Hello?
I'm actually brand new to Rotary, so I'm really not sure what it is that we do, but I know we've had a really great president and we're really excited for the new one we have coming as well here in Roseburg.
Oh, you're in real, oh, okay. Did I meet you when I was at your centennial dinner?
I don't believe that we did.
I came down to your centennial dinner and I met a few people, but I
Yeah. I know I saw you, but I don't think that we met.
Oh, well, anyway, nice to meet you now.
Nice to meet you as well.
You guys had a nice dinner.
It was beautiful. They really did a great job. Mimi's put in a lot of work and so did the committee.
What a facility.
Oh, yes.
They were at
UCC is beautiful.
Umpqua Community College, right?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
And it overlooks the river and has
Oh.
beautiful view. And
It's gorgeous.
Oh, just to give you a little bit of forewarning, I got a board meeting, Zoom meeting at 11 o'clock. So I'm not sure how long they're going to be, but
we're gonna
If
be
I
long
disappear,
gone by then.
oh, okay. All right.
This is usually an hour and I try to keep it to an hour because I know you guys are all busy. Sometimes it's hard to cut everybody off. That's not always so. Oh, John Scarborough's coming in. Got 2 more minutes. Mark, have you been president of Newport Club?
Yes,
When are
Back
you going to be
in-
the second time?
I can. I'm the treasurer right now.
Oh, that's a good excuse.
Yeah, it works. Yeah, we have our banquet coming up on the 30th. It's when we trade the gavel from one person
Uh-huh.
to another.
Where is it?
It's at the Hallmark this year.
Oh, nice. Are you still meeting for lunch at the Elks?
Elks Lodge, yes. Although 2 weeks ago, we met at the new building over at Hatfield.
Oh,
It's
nice.
that 3-story tsunami escape building.
Do they have food service there or did you have it
We had
catered?
it, we had it catered in.
That would be another good forum thought, is just how everybody handles lunches or meals or meetings. It's always a big controversy. Trying to make everybody happy.
And that doesn't work.
Nope. I think our Eugene's Metro Club has a really good idea. They meet at a restaurant where you go in, you go to the bar, you order what you want, you order what you
Sorry,
want
I
to
was-
drink,
Sorry, Ruben, I was.
you give them their name, then you go in and sit down for the meeting and they bring your food in. And then you pay for it on your own.
I went to a Rotary meeting outside of St. Louis one time, and just a small club that had just started up. There was only about 6 members there, met at a restaurant that had humongous margaritas. I like that club,
Well, that must have been painful.
definitely.
I should propose those for my 7 a.m. club.
I don't know. No, the Metro meets after work. They meet at 6 o'clock. So that's a different.
Mimosas and Marys, Carly.
There you go. Jill's with me too.
There you go.
So we meet in the bar at Bella Union at 7 a.m. And so it's all there. We're just not allowed to touch.
Oh, man. I don't think I would be worth much the rest of the day.
No, occasionally Jerry will come up with a Bloody Mary or a mimosa or something if it's Christmas or we're wrapping presents or, something fun, but that's it.
Now, I put Joe Vincent's picture on the email yesterday because he's supposed to be here to share what he did. They just updated all their job descriptions and he says, oh, what timing? I should, I need to go to that meeting. And so he was going to come to the meeting. I was going to let him share a screen. I must have scared him off. Anyway, okay, well, if he shows up, we'll let him in. Joe, you're not here, are you? No, I don't see you.
If he doesn't show up, maybe he could send the descriptions out or to you and
Yeah.
then you can distribute to us. I'd like to see those.
I have an idea, but I would need some help. So I'm going to pitch this right now and see if anybody bites on it. Wouldn't it be cool? Oh, here comes somebody called Club. I don't know what that's supposed to be. I hope it's not a spammer. Wouldn't it be cool if we had a Dropbox or a Google file where everybody could put up their attraction events or their mentor guides or their job descriptions in this case. And then we could, when we're doing ours, we could go to that file and look what other clubs have done. I think that would be kind of cool. I just don't know what I'm talking about. So anyway, I'll
Would
leave it.
DACDB have a place
Yeah,
we could put that stuff?
let me pipe in here, Christine. So I'm Steve Mathis. I'm the DACDB resource for the district.
Yeah.
And this is what I think is best practice using DACDB. Every club should have a board of directors committee in their club. They're easy to make. The secretary or the president can do that. So you make a board of directors committee, and once you've created a committee and populated it, you will see an area where you can store files for that committee. And so make a file for the secretary, the treasurer, the president, any of your directors. And then in that, have resources that tell them what their job is. And you could have a variety of things. Rotary International has templates for club officers, and you could have that resource in there, but it's better for each club to do their own because over the years they've defined what those jobs are more specifically. So every club should have a board of directors committee, and in that committee area of DACDB, there's a place to store files, and that's where I would put them. I would also say that the district has a place for public files, and that would be a resource where you could put all these generic things and have clubs could get them from there.
Yeah, I think that would be, because like if I was looking to redo my job descriptions, like committee responsibilities, it would be nice to have one place to go look where everybody's job descriptions were there, and I wouldn't have to go look at individual clubs. But let's follow up with that. Joe showed up now. I was worried about you, Joe. I thought you were, abandoning me.
My apologies, Christine. I didn't receive a link from you for this meeting, so I had to go back and find an old email, and that link worked. I tried it earlier and it didn't work. So I noticed that this meeting is not on the district calendar, by the way, which was one of my options here earlier trying to get in. Can I still share screen? You said you sent me an email with something so I could share screen, and I did not receive that.
Well, I'm going to make you, I don't want to make you a host. I'm going to make you a co-host. Otherwise, you'll take away all my power.
And I'll start while you're doing that, saying that my club under past District Governor Bill Mickelberry had for 19 years an annual update of our club operations manual. And boy, he did it 16 times out of 19 years. It has, we were really without that resource updated for a while, and it really took a toll, I think, at times on us. So in August of 2017, we decided to renew that and get it updated. And unfortunately, that also included updating the club bylaws and the organizational chart. And after 4.5 years, we just got it printed a few weeks ago. So the problem was that and I think I want to share a couple of things with the people who are present. When you do this exercise of putting together committee descriptions, don't try to make it perfect. Just get something written down on paper. Period. End. And make a point that you're going to look at it again and revise it periodically. Set up a calendar to do that. What we did was, what we have done in the Greater Albany Club is assign this committee to do this to the president-elect. And he or she is to start working on this at the beginning of their term. Going from the front to the back of the operations manual and making revisions and having a copy to hand off to the incoming board of directors on July 1. So that gives us a target date.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So we took a long time getting this done. We ended up using a lot of the old club committee descriptions from Bill Mickelberry, just because we made that decision. Let's just get something done.
Yeah.
Worry about refining it some other time in the future. So right now we have tentatively as a club scheduled August as the time for an incoming president-elect to get that committee, the manual update committee, re-going. And I'm going to admit Jim Polk. So we can.
Oh, I just did. I'll take care of that.
Okay. So I go down and hit share screen.
Yep.
Okay. And
And
I,
I'll remind you that we like to keep this part of it brief, so you won't have time to go into the weeds, assuming there are some.
okay,
Um,
there
and,
are, and I will cut straight to the chase.
all righty.
Screen sharing has stopped. Okay,
Yeah, I saw that.
so
Try it again.
I should be able to go to, I'm looking for my startup screen.
What do you mean your startup screen?
My desktop on my computer. And I don't see it.
There, Joe Vincent has started sharing. Okay, there.
Okay, so I want to go to quickly my startup screen. I click on DACDB. I click on my club. And then I go to club files.
Mm-hmm.
And down under, there is something called club operations, wheels, spokes, and cotter pins. That's the name of our club manual.
Okay, and this is what Steve Mathis was talking about, right, Steve?
Yep. And I just, that's what I thought. And I click on that, and here it is. Wheels, spokes, and cotter pins, a useful tool for greater club, Albany club leaders. It is available to people in DACDB by doing what I just showed you. It's that simple. Okay.
Well, I don't know if everybody has access to your club's documents, do they, Steve?
You do not, Christine. But anybody who sends me, if we can figure out a way for people to get their email address to me, I'm in the process right now with our club secretary of figuring out how to distribute this to everybody here or anybody else that wants it.
So Joe, here's how you do it. You
Yeah.
go to district, and on the left side of the screen, you'll see a place to click for district files.
Yeah.
Go to district public files, and then in there you can create a folder with that same name and store it there. And then Christine can just let everybody know it's there.
Okay. I will try doing that today. The problem is file size, Steve.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. All right. So you can see in the table of contents here, there's an organizational chart that's key. And then there's a section called Officer, Board, and Committee Chair Descriptions. So what we did was 4.5 years ago, we found we had about 50 club committees, and we eliminated half of them. Just got rid of them. The duties of the president-elect, club secretary can be taken from the Rotary Code of Policies and from documents in the Learning Center. So we stole all those. And then we added some specific committees that were going to be chaired by those same club officers. For instance, the president-elect chairs the annual budget committee, so there's a description for that. Committee definitions and is the same as the club manual update committee, etc. So there's a page. We're going to eliminate this. This is something from the Code of Policies in RI. About duties for the club president. It's nice to have something like this when you're recruiting someone to be president-elect or club president, to say, well, here are the things that the club president or treasurer or secretary does. So we put those in there. And then here you'll see presidential citation. That's a committee chaired by the president. So this is the template that Bill Mickleberry used. It has what we called at the time the Avenue, which was the whatever title you give to each board member who represents this committee on the board. What's the name of the committee? Who's the director of the committee? This, when it gets updated again, will say 2022, 2023. Who's the chair of the committee and who's on the committee? It'll have 1 or 2 lines saying what's the purpose. as many lines as you want for goals. And then what are the responsibilities for that committee? This is a pretty easy standard template. And what budget does it have? Our club secretary, when he put this online, put a return to section contents button, which makes it easier to scroll back up to the top and continue your search if that's what you want to do. So this is as far as we have gotten right now. Committee definitions, which is the same as manual update, president-elect. And I'm going to scroll on manual update committee. I'm going to scroll on down a little bit farther. Nominating committee. The nominating committee is made up of all of the past presidents who are still club members. And then we, as I say, stole as much as we could from the Learning Center. And so when you're recruiting a new club secretary, it's nice to have something to show them and say, this is what we would like our club secretary to be involved with. And so we took a page that you can find in the Learning Center in My Rotary and go to Lead Your Club. And there is a one for each officer and many others, and one for club secretary. We just printed that one page, the one page from that entire training program out to go into this manual. And same thing, same thing for treasurer, board administration. So what we did then is start organizing the list of committees under each board member. The board member who's responsible for club administration already has committee descriptions set from the previous manual, except for the ones in red. And so we still have to write these at the same time we rewrite these. But it gives us a template. It's something for the committee to work from.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said, it was a lot easier to have something to start with and start writing than it was. It will be a lot easier to modify these than it was to get stuff put together to begin with.
Joe, can I ask you a question? It looks from this file at the top like you've got 105 pages.
Yes. Part of those are dividers.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say, how many members have gone through that?
Since it has just been revised. So the plan is that as right now our president-elect is filling the board with new members. We've got some vacancies. And then those board members will hopefully by June 1st or by July 1st, we'll have somebody in the spot for each committee. Each of those people will have that page, the page that applies to them. We'll make sure of that. Right. If they want to go through the whole manual, and I doubt that anybody will, right, it's available. And so the main purpose wasn't that it would be read by every club member, but that it would be read by the board member with responsibilities, or it would be read by the committee chair with responsibilities. Those folks need to read their piece.
Yeah.
But the whole manual has the goals from Goal Center for the year. It has the budget for the year, and it has the organizational chart. Well, many club members will refer to that as needed. The average club member is never going to look at this. They won't need to. They'll need to look at their piece.
Okay. Can we move on? Can we, is that it, Joe?
Yep.
Thank you for sharing that. I've got another one to share with you and a few slides before we start our overall discussion, because every club does this differently. And I was on Google this morning and I found some some job descriptions from the Moortown Club, wherever that is, I don't know, but you can get online and find out all kinds of resources to see how other clubs have done it. Let me share my screen. A couple of things I want to share with you real quick. Okay, we'll share it. Hello, here we go. Can you see that? Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we're talking about board and committee responsibilities. When you ask a member to be on the board or to be the committee chair for, say, membership, for example, their first question is going to be, well, what's my responsibility? And if you don't have something that you can give them to answer that question, that's like being a McDonald's and hiring somebody and they have no idea what they're supposed to do. You have to give them some idea. And so basically I take a page out of job descriptions out of the business world. And those job descriptions answer the questions that the person has before they agree to apply for the job, or in our case, to volunteer for the job. If that description is too short or too vague, it doesn't answer their question, what do I do? And it scares them. Okay, so you don't want it to be too short. And you don't want it to be too long or too detailed, because it doesn't leave room for them to own the position and to mold it into how they envision, say, membership working. And doesn't allow them to use their creativity. And if it's too long, it can scare them away. So that's where I asked Joe, and you're correct in saying, you show them the part that they need, because we don't want to scare them away. So really what we're looking for is that Goldilocks in job descriptions. And yes, that's a technical term, I made it up. So we're going to start with a 1-sentence membership director job description. What would be a 1-sentence membership job description, membership director job description? Throw a sentence out. Who would be willing to put themselves on the spot and come up with a 1-sentence job description for a membership director?
To grow
John,
the family of Rotary, to invite a prospective member to club.
Okay. See, we're starting with the why. Let's see, John, did you have your hand up?
No, we did not. Not yet.
And okay, I see Joe did, but Joe, I was going to try to get some other people involved as well. You know how I am. And I don't know why, but I can only see 4 of you. So that's really bugging me. Carly raised hand. Okay, Carly.
Just strategize recruitment and retention of membership.
All right.
Maybe put in engagement and membership as well.
Yeah. So we're thinking of terms to use, of verbs to use. And we always want to start with why. Why is this? If you're in a business and you're going to hire a janitor, you need to think about, why is this important that we have a janitor? Our toilets being clean, really important? Well, yeah, if you value customer service, sure it is. And so why do we want this person? Before you get into what they do, you want to know why they do it. And that helps align the person's passion with what if you want them to be a membership director, they have to agree that it's really important that we have engaged and active members, right? Then we get into the what, the core responsibilities, and then the how, ongoing activities. And I usually caution people to take it easy on the hows, because we don't want to tell them too much of how to do everything, especially if they're somewhat of a creative type of personality or a leader type of personality. They want room to come up with their own hows. So you might have some ongoing activities that you do. You have some attraction events, you have mentors, you have inductions, and you have assigning to committees or matching with committees. So you might have a few key hows, but you try to keep those minimal. Let's see, where's it? Here's a couple things I got off the web this morning. I'm always doing last minute searches, and they said to use pronouns you as opposed to this person or the membership director does da 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 da, and use we or are instead of the club. So in other words, you say you host member attraction events to find members who align with our club mission. And why do they say you use you pronouns? Because that puts the person into the position of being there. Now, I went back and looked at my own job descriptions, and we don't do that. So it's like, here's my advice, take it. I'm not using it. But I thought it was kind of a good idea, so I wanted to share that with you. Another thing it said is to use action verbs, and I like the way that Carly threw this in, that use action verbs like you attract great members to the club instead of you are responsible for attracting great members. You want action verbs stimulate action, and non-action verbs just show the, what the responsibilities are, and it's not quite as engaging. And then you want to use a common theme for all your job descriptions and committee chair responsibilities. And I'll show you, that's one thing our club did a pretty good job with. So that's not always easy. And then, like Joe says, it's like wash, rinse, and repeat. This is never done. You're never done with job descriptions, but it is important that you have something to, I'm going to stop that share, something to show people when they ask that question. Now, let me show you one other thing. Okay. Okay, now share. And then we're going to break into some conversation. All right, so this is the one that we did, and it's already, we did this a year and a half ago, Joe, and it's already out of date. And, we're all there. Can you see this sort of? Oh, no, this is the Kalamazoo one. No, that's not mine. Oh, here, just a second. Here's mine. Can you see these? Sorry about the mess on the screen, but I'm afraid to undo it. So this is just the one for the membership director, but the role is to develop and implement a plan for recruitment and retention. That's action verbs. And then we have some responsibilities. They supervise the committees. There's 5 in our case. They work with the president. They participate in orientation sessions, communicate with the committee chairs on a regular basis, because there's 5 committees, and they go to the district training assembly and go to monthly board meetings. And then there are 5 committees, and we have the 5 same kind of thing where we talk about the why at the top and then the what in the middle there. So that's ours as another example. And Joe's willing to share his, I'm willing to share. Oops, just get out of here. I want to stop sharing now. So let's go back to our, how many of you have job descriptions for your club or some semblance of such? Yeah, Jim's giving it this.
We have some.
Well, it's like vacuuming, you're never quite done. As soon as you get to the end of the house, it's time to start at the beginning of the house again. You're never quite finished. So if you were going to, you want to use what you've had, like Joe did, for a resource. You've got something, even if it's in the spiders at the bottom filed with the spiders in the bottom drawer, pull it out, look at it. John.
Yeah, when pulling stuff out of Learning Central, out of my Rotary and so on, be careful of what you pull out or what you pull into the job description you want to have for your club, because you may be going up against traditions you're not aware of. Just look out for contradictions.
Right. Well, the other thing, here's a question for you. Who should write the job description?
Someone who can write.
With knowledge.
Somebody that knows spell check, no.
Also, somebody who's not afraid to lean on others or to ask for assistance from others, especially those past presidents.
So you want leadership to be in on the writing of the job descriptions, right?
Or the review, anyway.
What about the person that's doing the job?
If you have him or her, bring them in with it.
Jill, how do you guys do it?
What we've done in the past under past District Governor Mickelberry, and what we're going to do going forward is to ask people who are chairing the committees to review what's in the manual and make suggestions for corrections. We're only going to give them a very short window to do that. And we'll probably be after them, if you will, to read and make suggestions. And then we'll move on. And the committee that is updating the manual will make changes where they feel it's appropriate, and then just check back in with that committee chair to let them know what we've changed. So not every description has to be changed every year.
Right.
But every committee chair needs to review it and say, is this still accurate?
Jill?
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
we actually have incorporated the standing committees in our bylaws. And we have a bylaw committee every year with the chair. And in the past, it's oftentimes been a past president who's had his finger on the pulse the year before and knows what areas need to be worked on, along with President-elect. And then they reach out in updating to the, at this point, past committee chairs, just as Joe said, to get that update up to date. You know, not a description that goes back 6 years. And the reason we did this was we had committees that were overlapping. Like, what is public relations and media chair? I mean, aren't they kind of the same thing? Are they, let's define what each person is responsible for? And that was very helpful. Because rather than both of them doing a good job, neither one of them did the job.
Because I thought the other guy was doing the job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we
Yeah,
just,
you know, a lot of
That's
times
right.
our club has added committees, but we've never subtracted anything or merged anything.
and that's where we stood. We were overlapping in many areas. So we had to just clean it up. Like Joe said, yearly looking at it. Because let's face it, especially over the last 2 years, I mean, we developed committees and we had to drop some. So, or not really drop, but they became basically inactive.
I think the hardest thing for job descriptions is to not only review them manually, that's easier said than done, but to keep them simple so that they don't end up being too weedy, too detail oriented. Because every time you put in too many specifics, they change by next Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Joe is going to add to that.
I want to add to Jill's comment. We had, in 2017, I think we had maybe over 50 committees. And the thought might have been good that we get as many club members involved in as many different things as possible. but a lot of the committees were one person with one task one time a year. And so we did a lot of consolidating. And we're still in that process.
Yeah. You still are adjusting. Mark, what do you guys do?
Not much. We've been, at least I've been really pushing to do a visioning thing again. We did it a long time, at least over 10 years ago. The district came in and helped us do that. And so we've been kind of, since that time, after a few years, we've just been kind of floundering around, and we're continuing to push to get the visioning done.
Yeah, you start with your vision, and then you kind of check your your constitution is pretty well boilerplate, right? You can get that off RI. Your bylaws, now they're getting a little more specific to your club. Your policies and procedures getting even more specific. Then you have your job descriptions. And I like Jill's comment that if you can have some of those standing committees in your bylaws with just the basics of what are they responsible for, attracting and retaining members, boom, that's it. It's none of the how part of it, just the what they do and why it's important maybe is a good thing too. But yeah, the visioning process is something our club went through, struggled with, and it's an ongoing process like vacuuming as well. You're never quite done with it, but you do have to keep focusing on it as leaders of your club. Carly, what do you guys do down in Ashland?
Well, so we're the morning club, so a lot less than the noon club.
That's not a bad thing.
But generally, as far as committees are concerned, we kind of try to split them up based on what our goals are. We do have club service, membership, international service. We're trying to make sure that we stay connected with the larger goals of Rotary and essentially connect professionals with some of the kids that we mentor. So we have various clubs on that. They are fluid. I just got an email this morning that we're changing them again. So we're in the process of updating that. And so with our transition, we're going to be probably meeting with our president-elect and starting to flush all those out quite a bit. So we're fluid right now.
Right. How many of you are asked do you have trouble getting people to serve on your committee as committee chairs or on your board of directors? Do you nod, give me a hand? Is it easy peasy, or is it just something that is a struggle every year? John.
Yeah, it's not easy peasy. We have a core, we have 100 people, 90 actually. We have 90 people, and of those 90, maybe there's 30 who are active. And if you ask for a chair, it's difficult to find someone who isn't already overworked, or they have, like we have a number of people who are involved in CASA. That's helping kids through problems in court. So they've got family problems, etc. There must be 5 people in our club who are involved with that, and that takes up a lot of oxygen. So yeah, in short, it's hard to do.
Joe.
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted, Joe.
That was the reason why we started this revision. Our club started the revision to the manual. There were people on the board who had no idea what their job was.
Yeah.
They were recruited to be on the board, and they agreed to do that and be in charge of this broad title, but they had no idea what was included in that. There was nothing in writing to show them or give them any guidance, and no one gave them any explanation. That created inactivity in a couple of key club areas. It reemphasized the need to have something we could present to them and say, thank you for volunteering to be a board member for community service, by the way. And that's reflected now in our organizational chart. We took the names of committees off the org chart and under each board member put, for example, and listed some activities that, for example, they might be responsible for reporting on in our monthly board meetings.
I did an interesting exercise the other day. I'm kind of helping the New Monroe Club start, which is a brand new club. And then a few years back, I helped a satellite start, and I'm looking at starting another possible satellite club as well. And I got to thinking, what's the bare bones of a Rotary Club? We all know where we are now, and it's complicated, and it's scary when you think about rewriting job descriptions, let alone visioning, let alone bylaws, all that stuff. But what is the bare bones of a club? You know, what basics do you need? And that was a very interesting exercise. I went through our chart of accounts, which is about 200 pages long. I'm exaggerating, but it's about 150 lines long. And what's the bare necessities? Well, you've got, for income, you've got dues, you might have happy bucks, and you might have fundraising activities. And for expenses, you might have membership type supplies or events, you might have PR type things, you might have your service projects. What am I trying to say there? And so if you use that kind of an exercise before you approach where you are now, because where you are now is much more complicated than that. How could we make things a little simpler? Because as a leader, if we can't simply define, say, what a membership chair does, it comes across to the person that we're trying to convince to be that membership chair. And if we show them a litany of things that they're responsible for, they can't get out the back door fast enough. And we really want to engage them in this powerful opportunity to make such a difference in our club, right? That's what we're after. Why don't we break up into little discussion groups for the last few minutes and talk about what you've got out of today and what you might do differently and ideas you have. I want to pull us back together with a few minutes to spare because I have some new thoughts for going into next year for these membership forums.
I need to take off to my next meeting. It's
okay. Well, we'll volunteer you when you're gone, Fred. No problem.
Oh, okay. All right.
No problem. We'll see you. As you need to come and go, I understand. Everybody's busy.
Yeah.
So let's have some work groups though here. And I don't have a specific task for you to talk about, but what might you do differently in your club with regard to committee responsibilities, board responsibilities, i.e. job descriptions, okay? Now, where are the breakout rooms? Let's have 2 of them, okay? Oh, somebody's got a bird. Jill, I think you have to click on something to go to your room. And you're muted. There we go. gotta go here one more little minute.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I just started it back up again.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to take your hosting responsibilities away there, Joe.
All
Good.
of a sudden I was in a
Okay, are we all back, I think? It's always interesting because I get to pop into the different breakout rooms, and most of the time you guys are all off on tangents. And that's not a bad thing. You know, we start our discussion, but there's just so many tangential elements to being the leader, let alone the membership director in a Rotary Club. It's not like it's working in a silo, is it? One of the breakout rooms was talking about leadership and board meetings. How do you keep people on focus when you have 87 committees? And the other one was talking about committees. So anybody want to summarize what you came up with? I'm going to leave a couple minutes for me to give you a little teaser about next month. Okay, I'll pick somebody. John, you moved your hand, so you're.
I did, yeah. That was a hesitation. We talked about directors and chairs. What roles are they going to have? We also talked about rebuilding after COVID. That we don't want to bury people who are interested in joining the club with a lot of documentation about how it works or how it used to work or what we want to do in the future. There has to be an easy path for entry.
That's interesting because the other group was talking about pre, during, and post COVID and how that's, you know, changed things as well. Does anybody want to speak on their behalf?
I'll just say that we talked about it, and being concise in your committees is so important. For instance, youth service, you'll have maybe one youth service committee chair, and then under that you might have RILA, Interact, etc. But keep the actual chairs very simplistic, and then have definite job descriptions for all of the above. But keep them open for creativity.
Mm-hmm. All easy to say, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is, and we have to keep practicing on it. You know, when I wrote my first book, I found this quote that still sticks with me, and it still sticks with me through leadership. If you can't say, in this case, it was the topic of the book, if you can't say it in one sentence, you can't say it in 200 pages. Well, if we can't say what a job description is in one sentence, if you know, then all of the rest of the documentation won't get read. People understand a sentence. And so we have to, our job as leaders is to try to simplify to make something sound at least manageable. And like Jill said, to leave it open for some creativity and not over structuralize and over document things. We do have to maintain whatever legal requirements we do. So there's that Goldilocks thing. There's always that too little, too much. How do we find that middle ground? So that's my summary. Next month, there's going to be a new link. I've used the same link forever, but I have to use a new link next month because I've been using the district's Zoom account, and every time I don't log in frequently enough, then they have to get a hold of Jim Polk and give him the secret decoder number for me to get back in so I can run this meeting. And if I can't get a hold of him, it only lasts for 10 minutes. Anyway, I have my own Zoom account, so I'm going to change it over to mine. So there will be new link. Next month's meeting is going to be structuring our meetings for introverts as well as extroverts. Something Rotary's really good at. is structuring things for the extroverts among us. Oh, let's all get up and give each other a big hug. And some people are like, I hate that part of the meeting. So who might be interested among this group in helping me think like an extrovert or an introvert?
Sure.
Harley, would you? And John? All right.
I'm too introverted to volunteer.
Okay, Mark.
That's
thanks. You
okay,
just
Mark.
did. That sounded like a volunteer, didn't it? Well, I'll ask each of you to tell us quietly. Hi, Steve. Did you have your hand up too?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that I am the DACDB resource for the district. And if you have anything dealing with membership issues where I can make your job easier or maybe have suggestions, feel free to shoot me an email or P-mail, as the case may be. First, I'd like to say, if you aren't doing it, everybody should be using the new member form in DACDB. If you are not, I recommend that you switch to that. And there is a video under the help tab that shows you how to use that.
Okay, well, we should maybe have a separate meeting just about that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to cut us off now because it is 11 o'clock and it's a struggle, like I said, to end a meeting on time, but I'm committed to trying to do that. Steve, thanks for being here. It's nice to have the DACDB
It is.
information. And I think that it would be great to have, God, DACDB forums would be awesome too. Just so much to talk about for Rotary, and there's so much we can learn from each other. We are our brain trust, you guys. So thanks for coming, and I'll be sending you a new link next month.
Thanks,
And if
Christine.
anybody
Thanks,
wants
Christine.
to help with that document file, email me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.